Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. We are here for the 21st in a 274-part series, journeying poem by poem through Sylvia Plath. This video will appear in both the Sylvia Plath read-along as well as the poetry discussion playlist. I apologize for the last video. I was a bit confused because at some point I had left a couple of videos out of the playlist. So this is episode 21 over dialogue between Ghost and Priest. This is a poem that would be very easy, I think, to just take on a surface level. And maybe that's even what I'm doing here, because I think that there are some discussion points worth bringing up. But I'm not sure I got really to the meat of the matter here. So the poem reads as such. In the rectory garden on his evening walk paced brisk Father Sean. A cold day, a sodden one it was in black November. After a sliding rain, dew stood in chill sweat on each stalk, each thorn spiring from wet earth a blue haze, hung, caught in dark webbed branches like a fabulous heron. Hauled sudden from solitude, hair prickling on his head, Father Sean perceived a ghost shaping itself from that mist. How now? Father Sean crisply addressed the ghost, wavering there, gauze-edged, smelling of wood smoke. What manner of business are you on? From your blue pallor I'd say you inhabited the frozen waste of hell, and not the fiery part. Yet to judge by that dazzled look, the noble mien, perhaps you've late quitted heaven. In voice furred with frost, Ghost said to Priest, neither of those countries do I frequent. Earth is my haunt. Come, come, Father Sean gave an impatient shrug. I don't ask you to spin some ridiculous fable of gilded harps or gnawing fire. Simply tell, after your life's end, what just epilogue God ordained to follow up your days. Is it such trouble to satisfy the questions of a curious fool? In life, love gnawed my skin to the white bone. What love did then, love does now. Gnaws me through. What love, asked Father Sean, but too great love of flawed earth flesh could cause this sorry pass, some damned condition you are in. Thinking never to have left the world, you grieve as though alive, shriveling in torment, thus to atone as shade for sin that lured blind man. The day of doom is not yet come. Until that time, a crock of dust is my dear home. Fond phantom, cried shocked Father Sean, can there be such stubbornness? A soul grown feverish clutch its dead body tree like a last storm crossed leaf. Best get you gone to judgment in a higher court of grace. Repent, depart, before God's trump crack splits the sky. From that pale mist, Ghost swore to Priest, there sits no higher court than man's red heart. So there's a couple things I think are interesting here, worth talking about here. This last statement here, there sits no higher court than man's red heart. It's possible there are two things being said there. Number one, the ghost is telling Priest Sean, Father Sean, you've wasted your life, buddy. There's nothing after this. There's no higher power. There's no God. There is no fiery hell below. None of it. The highest court in all existence is man's red heart. There's nothing after this. Or is our ghost simply telling the priest, God does not matter to me? It was this love that mattered to me, and this love continues to be that for which I will exist. Which statement is being made here? God does not exist, or these troubles in my lonely world? These are the bigger troubles, not afterlife, not heaven or hell, none of those things. What matters is love and lack thereof. Which would, so we have someone in Father Sean who has dedicated his entire life to the idea of the Christian afterlife. And here we have this ghost saying to him, the afterlife that you think you know doesn't matter. It's not that. Maybe that's what he's saying. If we take that thought process, if we take the event that the ghost is telling Father Sean, no, you've wasted your life, then we have this ghost here who has refused to move on. We have this ghost here who has refused simply to dissipate, right? If this is the case and there is no Christian afterlife, no Jewish afterlife, no Muslim afterlife, none of these religions, if we take this into account and say, no, all of those books you've read, they are for naught, then is it simply through being undone that we continue to go on? If our ghost here were not so perturbed by the love that he had had in life, would he still exist, or would he simply have perished upon the closure of his life? Is therefore contempt, anxiety, regret, are these things the only way that we can carry on? So there's an idea of the afterlife which has always been interesting to me, and it goes back to something of a cliche, right? You hear a man dies 2 deaths: on the day he takes his last breath and on the day that his name last escapes someone's mouth. The day you die and the day people stop talking about you. Those are the 2 deaths that we die. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is saying that it is not the impact that you have upon the world that keeps you living, it's the impact that the world had upon you. If you had a good life, then it doesn't really matter that much. Who cares? You had a good life, you passed on, now you simply do not exist. This ghost here is saying that he did not maybe have a good life. There was some love that perturbed him somewhere along the way, and all of a sudden, now he is stuck in this mortal plane of existence. But he is intimating that this mortal plane of existence is the only plane of existence, even for the immortals who have not been able to pass on. There's another possibility here. There is the possibility that our ghost is under misapprehension. The possibility that our ghost is trying to communicate to Father Sean things which he doesn't know this, but are not so. No, possibly he's lying, but I don't know that there's any real reason to read that into the text. What if your great assumption to the afterlife is contingent upon you getting done with whatever your business here is? Otherwise, you simply would not know. You would have no idea that there is something else because you would not have been able to access it because of these perturbations. Because of the fact that this ghost was so in love and felt wronged in life. It's like, what would it be like? I have no examples for it, but you die, and if there's something that's bothering you, you're stuck to this world. It is only upon accepting whatever it is that you have to accept that you're even aware of the next step. So the world, the stories that we understand, the stories that we have in our culture are of people who die, and maybe there is something that binds them to this earth, some great anxiety, some great failure, and they refuse to accept it, but it seems that they know. If I were able to accept this, I would be able to pass on to the next step. Maybe our ghost just doesn't know that, right? There are so this is one of the big ideas in literature itself, is that this final little stanza here, and I say little not to condescend, I say little because it's a small stanza in a longer poem, and it's very few words, 4, 8, 12, 13, 17 words ish. From that pale mist, ghost swore to priest, there sits no higher court than man's red heart. Those are the words as they exist in the poem. What do they mean? What do they express? What do they say to you? That is where literary interpretation is made. That is all I have for this video, the 21st in a 274-part series, journeying poem by poem through Sylvia Plath, The Collected Poems, if you can see that. Or if you can't, it's still true. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out on the channel, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, there's poetry on the channel every Monday. There are all sorts of videos. I'm currently going short story by short story through The Dubliners, or Dubliners, I guess I should say, by James Joyce, nearing the end of that. Going through the Finca Vigia edition, every Ernest Hemingway short story, going through the latest Stephen King novel, all sorts of read-alongs going on the channel, and I hope to have you back for the next one.